When Daniel Harper moved into the pale blue house at the end of Maple Street, nobody paid much attention. He looked like the kind of man you'd forget 5 minutes after meeting him, mid-30s, neatly trimmed beard, polite smile, always carrying a travel mug of coffee. He waved at neighbors, mowed his lawn every Sunday, and even brought a store-bought apple pie to Mrs. Carter next door. I was the one who helped him move in. My name is Samir, and I run a small handyman service in town. Fixing fences, repairing doors, hauling furniture, nothing glamorous, but honest work. Daniel had called me after finding my number on a community board. He needed help moving a heavy oak bookshelf and a few sealed storage boxes into his basement. "Careful with those," he'd said, a little too quickly, when I grabbed one of the boxes. "They're fragile." I remember thinking that was odd. The boxes weren't marked. No labels. Just brown tape wrapped tightly around them. The basement door was inside the kitchen. As we carried things down, I noticed how clean the house was. Almost staged. Like a furniture catalog where nobody actually lived. The basement itself was dim but organized. Shelves lined the walls. More boxes stacked neatly. A large worktable stood in the center, covered with what looked like tools and metal parts. "Working on a project?" I asked casually. "Just hobbies," Daniel replied, forcing a smile. I didn't press further. People are entitled to privacy. I finished the job, collected my payment, and left. For weeks after that, Daniel blended into the rhythm of the neighborhood. He jogged every morning at 6. Grocery shopping every Thursday. Garbage out precisely at 8 p.m. on Mondays. Predictable. But something felt rehearsed. The first real crack appeared one rainy evening that I was driving home when I saw Daniel standing outside his house, soaked, staring down at something near the curb. I pulled over. "You okay?" I asked. He startled, like I'd woken him from a dream. Yes. Yes, of course. At his feet was a small stray dog. Brown, skinny, trembling in the rain. "I think it's hurt," I said. Daniel stared at the dog, then at me. For a split second, his face looked empty. No concern. No emotion. Then it shifted. Like a mask snapping into place. "Oh. Poor thing." He bent down awkwardly, as if unsure how to touch it. "I'll take it to the vet," I offered. "My sister works there." Daniel hesitated. "No. I'll handle it." Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. Not anger. Not kindness either. Just ownership. Still, I nodded. "Okay. Let me know if you need help." The next morning, the dog was gone. I assumed Daniel had done the right thing. But 3 days later, Mrs. Carter mentioned her cat had disappeared. "Probably wandered off," she said, trying to sound calm. A week after that, another neighbor posted about a missing rabbit. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe not. I started noticing other things. Daniel's trash bags were always double-tied. Heavy. He never let anyone else handle them. When kids accidentally kicked a ball onto his lawn, he returned it with a smile, but his eyes stayed cold. Then one afternoon, he knocked on my door. "Samir, I hate to bother you," he said. "There's a leak in my basement. Think you could take a look?" My heart skipped. Of course I could have refused. But curiosity is a powerful thing. I followed him into the house. Same spotless kitchen. Same faint scent of lemon cleaner. As we descended the basement stairs, I felt that the leak was near the back wall. Just a small crack letting rainwater seep through. I knelt down to inspect it. That's when I noticed something under the worktable. A metal cage. My chest tightened. "Daniel," I said carefully, "what's that for?" He paused behind me. "Old storage." "But cages aren't storage." "Change." "Cooler." "Thicker." The leak was near the back wall. Just a small crack letting rainwater seep through. I knelt down to inspect it. That's when I noticed something under the work table. A metal cage. My chest tightened. "Daniel," I said carefully, "what's that for?" He paused behind me. "Old storage." "But cages aren't storage." I stood and walked closer. The cage door was open. Inside were old blankets. A food bowl. A chewed toy. For a second, I couldn't breathe. "You rescue animals?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Silence stretched between us. Then he said quietly, "I used to." Used to. I glanced around the basement. The sealed boxes. The tools. The work table. And then I saw it. On a shelf near the back, small framed photographs. Dogs. Cats. Rabbits. Each photo had a date written underneath. But no names. "Daniel," I whispered, "what happened to them?" He walked past me and stood by the shelf. His shoulders slumped. "I tried," he said. "I really tried." His voice cracked, not dramatically, not theatrically. Just, honestly. I volunteered at shelters. Fostered strays. But no one wanted the older ones. The injured ones. They'd get put down. He swallowed hard. I thought I could save them. My fear tangled with confusion. Save them how? He looked at me, and for the first time since I'd met him, his eyes weren't empty. "They were suffering," he said. "Broken legs. Tumors. Starving. I don't have medical training. I just kept them comfortable. The cage. The blankets. And when they didn't make it?" I asked softly. He gestured toward the boxes. "I buried them. Respectfully. There's a wooded area outside town." A wave of relief and horror crashed together in my chest. Not a killer. Not a monster. A man drowning in grief. "You should have asked for help," I said. He laughed bitterly. "People don't like complicated kindness. They like pictures of puppies with bows. Not dying animals that need expensive surgeries." I thought of the stray dog in the rain. "Where's the brown dog?" I asked. His face crumpled slightly. "At the vet. I couldn't fix that one. So I finally did what I should have done all along." He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. The dog was lying on a vet's table, bandaged but alive. My sister stood beside it, smiling. "She convinced me to start a fundraiser instead," he admitted. "For emergency animal care." I felt my knees weaken, not from fear this time, but from the weight of my assumptions. I had already decided what kind of man he was. "You thought I was dangerous," Daniel said quietly. I didn't deny it. "Most people do," he continued. "I'm not good with words. Or expressions. People think I don't care." I looked around the basement again. The neat rows. The photographs. This wasn't a lair. It was a memorial. "You shouldn't do this alone," I said. He gave a small nod. "I know." That weekend, I helped him clean the basement. We removed the cage. Sorted the boxes. Took the tools he didn't need to a donation center. Then we built something new. A proper foster space upstairs. Bright lights. Clean bedding. Open windows. Mrs. Carter's missing cat eventually returned on its own, having wandered into a garage across town. The rabbit turned up 2 streets over. There had been no secret horror. Just coincidence and suspicion. Word spread, not about fear, but about Daniel's new animal care initiative. My sister helped connect him with licensed vets. Neighbors donated food, blankets, money. The man who once looked like a threat became the one people called when they found an injured stray. One evening, months later, I stood beside him outside his house. A golden retriever with 3 legs wagged happily at his feet. You know, I said, I was terrified the first time I saw your basement. He chuckled softly. I could tell. I thought you were hiding something dark. He looked down at the dog, scratching behind its ears. I was, he said. Grief. The streetlights flickered on as the sun dipped below the horizon. Kids rode bikes past us. Mrs. Carter waved from her porch. Daniel waved back, awkward, but real. People aren't always what they seem. Sometimes the quiet ones carry the heaviest burdens. Sometimes kindness looks strange before it looks beautiful. And sometimes, the scariest door you open doesn't reveal evil. It reveals a heart that's been breaking in silence.